Hello, everyone, and welcome to this recording of The Independent Activist with me, Fra Hughes, in Belfast. I'm honoured to be joined today by Andrey Kotchetov, who is a trade union member in the People's Republic of Lugansk. Andrey, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you, Fra, and nice to see you. Nice to hear you.
Yeah, for anyone who's wondering why we can't see each other, it's just the connection between ourselves isn't great. So we're just going to go for an audio only podcast in this episode. So you'll be able to hear everything. Just sadly, you won't be able to see this handsome man who's chatting to us from halfway across the world in the Russian Federation. Andrey, we first met in I think it was 2015 or 2017 at the World Federation Trade Union Congress in Damascus in Syria. And we've kept in touch ever since. I know you're living in the Donbas with everything that's going on with the continued war, basically, between Russia and, I would suggest, NATO through the proxy that is Ukraine. Could you tell me what it's like living under fire at the moment, what it's like for the civilian population, the infrastructure, people trying to go about their daily lives and trying to bring up their families in some semblance of normality?
Uh, Now the situation in Donbas is still the same, at the time you visited Donetsk. Ukrainian forces still use artillery against our cities. The front line is still not far away from here, especially in Gorlovka. We hear every day the sounds of war, the sounds of artillery, but the life is still going on. Sure, the how to say, school and institutes are in the distance studying, because it's rather dangerous to go to walk on the streets, and that's why they study their lessons at home by online. Yes.
Yeah, well, that
So
seems to make
far,
sense. That seems to make sense if it's not safe for people to travel the streets and go to their workplaces and their places of education. Uh, could you maybe give us an update on what you think's happening? I mean, we've heard Trump said when he would come into power on the first day we bring peace between Ukraine and Russia. What's your take on what's happening and what's your hopes and fears for the proposed ceasefire? How do you think it'll all end? Do you think there's goodwill on behalf of both America and Ukraine for a ceasefire when we consider what Keir Starmer and Schultz and NATO and the EU leaders are trying to do to basically prolong the war at the cost of more civilian lives?
you see, the situation when Biden was a president was too terrible, because it's possible that Russia fight against not just Ukraine. They just against the United Europe and the United States of America. The We had an opportunity to see that the situation was changing from day to day, from the 22nd, when the war began on our territory. Do you remember that United States promised to send the Javelin weapon against to use against Russian troops. After that, they sent rockets. Now they try to send aircrafts and so on. In one hand, it's possible to say that we are glad that the dialogue between leaders of United States and Russia is started. It is very important that leaders need to communicate. At the same time, the situation with European Union is very strange. You see, I tried to study history when I was a student, and now the situation in the European Union is very similar, like the situation in the middle of 30s of the 20th century, when Germany started to prepare to the Second World War. Now you can hear the voices from Germany, Merz, Beck, and so that the Ukraine need to keep war before they win. But we understand that it's impossible for Ukraine to win the war, but they push President Zelensky to fight, and this is the terrible situation. So, in one hand, we are glad that the communication started between leaders of Russia and United States, but also I can say that we are tired from this situation and this war, and as all normal people, we would like to stop the war. But at the same time, the in Kiev said if we will stop, we will stop for period of time. You see, it is something like the Minsk agreements. When Putin tried to solve the problem, tried to bring the peace in Donbas, but the European leaders said that we just need the time Ukrainian forces to prepare to the war. So the situation is we can see that the new Nazi regime supported by European Union is raised up on Ukraine. And as for me, it's understandable that the Nazi is the need to destroy it. And that's why, as I told you, from one hand, we want to see fire. From the other hand, we stand, how to say, we support the thought or wish that the Nazi must destroy it completely. And that's why we would like win this war completely like in the 1945 when the fascism, German fascism, was destroyed in Berlin. From
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I find it very, very, very interesting. Just going to unpack some of it. I mean, you mentioned Biden. This was very much Biden's war. Biden was the man alongside Victoria Nuland in 2014 who inspired the Maidan Square color revolution, which included shooting demonstrators in the back and blaming it on the Ukrainian state forces. I also agree 100% that we're back in the 1930s because when Trump was first in power, he said that he wanted NATO to increase its GDP from the component governments up to 2.5%. Now he's saying 5%. The Germans are looking to rearm and rebuild their military capacity. So we see the rise of fascism across Western Europe. We see the rise of the right with Trump in America. I mean, Western Europe is now becoming an armed camp. They are gearing up, I imagine, for a war with Russia. They are constantly telling the people, the constituents in their country, we must put more money into arms. They're not talking about defense, they're talking about a potential war with Russia going forward. And I understand that it's a long road to peace, but I mean, 25 or 27 million members of the Soviet Union died to defeat Nazism, which will be celebrated on a great patriotic day on the 9th of May. You're going to have Trump and you're going to have Chairman Z in Moscow. What do you think will come out of that? The President of America and the leader of the Chinese Communist Party sitting with Putin in Russia. Do you think, other than political cosmetics, do you think they'll be able to come to some arrangement in the background going forward about bringing this war to an end, especially if Russia wants the denazification of Ukraine, and that's a red line?
I'm afraid that I didn't catch you well, but anyway, if I didn't understand you, you can tell me. But if I understand you well, the situation is this the decision about ceasefire is somewhere in conversation between leaders of our countries. And in general, I would like to say that uh, uh, in one century, not in one century, in every century, European Union tried to fight against Russia. I mean, the Napoleon, in 19th century, in 20th Hitler, and now the new authorities try to make something, mm, some next war, but the leader of Communist Party of China said that they was able to build the big partnership and friendship between our countries, and so maybe it's possible to say that in this situation um, the they can create the union, I mean the military union, against the uh, European Union or something like that. But anyway, as for me, it is terrible situation, and the main task of every leader of the country is try to keep their people in peaceful life. But now the situation moving in opposite side. The leaders of the European Union try to organize the next war. And we know that during the every war, many people is dying, and very well that you still remember and mention that 27 Soviet people was dying during the war, the last war, the Second World War, and I. As for me, that Russia always stand up to uh, destroy the Nazi completely and to build the new world. You see the situation with President Biden when he was uh, the president. It was terrible. You see, the United States was in role of policemen in the world. Yes, they decided who must be punished, who must be not punished, and so on. And now Putin tried to say the multipolar world when it was you see that anyway, I completely that something must be changed in this situation because the war between Ukraine and Russia it was created by Western money and support of the United States. So we stand up for peaceful life on Earth and without any war, and also without any fascism, fascist regime. Okay.
Yes, I think it's important that I've always described what's happened in the last few years as Biden's war. We touched briefly on the fact that Victoria Nuland was responsible for financing the coup in Kiev in 2014. But if we remember, Joe Biden was vice president to Obama, I believe, at that point in time. And it was only when Joe Biden became president in 2020 that the Ukrainians, kicked off again because they'd been rearmed and they'd been refocused and then they'd been reinforced and then they were pushed into conducting larger scale military operations against the breakaway republics. If Trump is shifting towards an end to the war in Ukraine, is it because he's pivoting towards China, or is it because he believes on some level that the war against Russia is not potentially in America's long-term interest? Because there is a school of thought that believes that they're trying to bleed Russia dry and bleed Europe dry in order to allow America to maintain its hegemonic position as the leader of Western civilized society.
We understand that Trump is the person from capitalist or imperialist world. In any way, you see if he will stop the war in Ukraine, is just only to make a business with Russia. Maybe, yes, to get money. Also, he is. We know that he is very worry about the situation with China when China is when China became such a powerful and rich country, and Trump is, his slogan. Do you remember? Make America great again. So everything he did just for America, and that's why I think it be terrible situation if the he started something like the war with on territory of China. I mean the Taiwan and China on something like that. Um, anyway, you see, I was born in the Soviet Union, and we were growing up with a slogan that we should do everything for peaceful world. So I stand in this position. Pra.
Yes, I agree with what you were saying about Trump. He's not a politician. He didn't grow up through the ranks of the political swamp that they call Washington. He's a businessman. He sees business opportunities. I mean, he wants to put all the people out of Gaza and wants to build a Las Vegas on the Riviera. This man is just a capitalist to his boots, a businessman who has no time or love for people other than his own elite class. I'm conscious, Andre, of the fact that there'll be people listening to this who aren't aware of why the special military operation began in February 2022. And I would believe that that all goes back to 2014. Do you want to give us some historical context, even go back further and tell us how the state of Ukraine came into being? I've heard reports that originally Kiev was the capital of the Russian Empire and things. You want to give us a wee bit of historical background so that people who aren't aware and are maybe influenced by Western propaganda can hear the truth about the real Ukraine?
You see, as for me, the situation is Ukraine is very, very terrible because, as you remember, I'm Ukrainian also. And you see, it was something like, I don't remember how to say, not tramp, trap. I called you see, in English, when you try to invite a wild animal to catch it, you something sweet or eat to catch the animal in English.
I'm not
Uh,
sure. Go
just,
ahead.
just, just a moment. I check. You see the situation. You uh, the Western countries lied to Ukrainian people. Just a moment. Ловушка. That the uh, just a moment. Okay. the Western authorities said many words to Ukraine that Ukrainians that we will wait for you in.
Sorry, Andre, I can't hear you, buddy.
Now can you, Fra?
Yes, I can hear you now,
Fra?
buddy. Yes.
Okay. Thank God, because I saw that connection was not good, but
That's good.
everything
Good
is
now.
okay.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yes. So the background of the situation with Ukrainian, the Ukraine, Soviet Republic, Ukraine is one of the rich republic in the Soviet Union. They with very good industry, their science and so on. And when the Soviet Union crashed, the all leaders started to that we are one family, we are the same. We must to live in unity and so on. And at the end, we can see that all European countries weapon try to send money. Just Ukrainian, there uh, for Ukraine only one role to be died on the battlefield against Russia, and so the future of as for me, you see, it is my personal dream that we must be, if not part of Russia Federation, so Ukraine must be very friendly to Russia and very natural, neutral. So without any weapon, without any wish to fight against anybody, and so on. Fra?
Yes. Oh no, I was just thinking there that you mentioned Napoleon and you mentioned Hitler, and I believe the Ukraine was the gateway for them to attack Russia in these previous attacks upon the Russian people. Uh, so how when things started in 2014, what was the reason behind the Maidan Square coup, which then put into power the fascists and the likes of uh, the Ukrainian Nazis. Why did that all come about? I mean, why did America? I understand they wanted to take Ukraine away from Russian influence, which is how they described it. But I mean, they've created this whole situation. I mean, a million dead Ukrainians. It looks like Europe, NATO, and America are prepared to fight this war. Well, NATO and the EU, anyway, to the last Ukrainian. Why did they want this war to begin with? Was it just to destabilize Russia? And I've heard for many, many, many years that there is a master plan to balkanize Russia into 9 separate component parts, all the easier for Western corporations to go over and resource rape the minerals and the coal and the mines and the industry of Russia. Could you maybe tie some of those things together? Why they had the coup? Are they trying to destroy Russia do they want to balkanize it? And the Minsk agreements, were they lied? When you think of the Minsk agreements, can you really believe the Americans if they say they want long-term peace going forward?
You see, we understood that President Putin is trying to bring the peace on Donbas by Minsk agreements. If you remember, the situation with the Ukrainian army was not so good at the 1914, and he tried to stop the war. But I completely agree with you that the main task, main reason to balance the Russian Federation and choose the sources like in Africa, Asia, and so on. That's why I think they pushed Ukraine in the fire of the war against to the Russian and so on.
Yes, brother. So, yeah, there seems to be this plan that they'll balkanize Russia. Maybe that's what the war was all about. I understand. I mean, we all know that they said when the Soviet Union was dissolved, and I believe like 80% of people in a referendum in the countries involved wanted to stay part of the Soviet Union, and it was the leadership at the time that decided that the Soviet Union was to be dissolved. And we all know that the Americans and NATO and others said there would be not 1 inch move to the east. And now we have Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Hungary, all these other countries in EU and within NATO. So you can't trust anything that the West says. You can't trust their leaders. They say one thing to your face, the way Merkel and Hollande did around the Minsk agreements. And as we all know now, they've said publicly that they never intended to honour those agreements, which they signed on behalf of Europe, on behalf of their nations, because they wanted time for Ukraine to rearm, which it did, to begin the final assault from 2020 on, 2021 into 2022, to subjugate and enslave the people of the Donbas region. So Russia is very much winning the war slowly, day by day. A lot of people are still left to be liberated in the view of the people that are living under Ukraine fascism. How do you see the war ending? Will you have a de facto partition of Ukraine? Will Ukraine then become part of Poland, as some people are saying? Will it be a rump state without access to the sea? And will it just become a basket case like Kosovo, where it will just be, continuing to need foreign aid because the country's economy has collapsed, and these Western European American companies are going to go in and take over everything in what's left of Ukraine, to privatize everything? No free education, no free health, large taxes, very little corporation tax. The government, in essence, will be just a management company on behalf of American finance.
Uh, you see, from it's now it's difficult to say what will be with Ukraine. For me, it's a terrible situation when it was the situation will will be like in Kosovo, but
Mm.
we know that Poland is ready to cut the piece of Ukraine, the western part, when the Lvov.
Mhm.
Also, the same situation with Romania. They, if you remember, in the during the Second World War, the Hitler gave them some territory of Ukraine, the Chernovtsi Oblast, and they still have a dream to go back there. And as for me, and I strongly believe in this, only Russia can stop the dreams of friends of Ukraine, so-called friends of Ukraine, to balkanize the Ukraine or cut it into the pieces. As for me, I would, as I told you, that as for me, the best thing if Ukraine will stay in the borders. But I understand that Russia already divided. I think the front line will stop. Uh, and Donbas republics and Zaporozhye and Kherson will stay with Russia. So I think the Ukraine will be divided in parts, unfortunately.
Yes, I know that's very sad because I know when I first met you, the thing that always stayed with me was a comment you made when I asked why the republics of Donetsk and Luhansk separated from Ukraine. You said that you never left Ukraine, that Ukraine left you. I've always
Yeah,
used that comment. Yep, buddy, I've always used that comment when I talk to people about what's happening in Donbass. I just basically say an American coup that put fascists in charge, reminiscent of the Banderites in the Second World War, and that the people in the regions that seceded said that we didn't elect fascists into our parliament and we are not living under a fascist coup that has been led, inspired, and financed by the West. And I constantly say to people, if you had a coup put on to your government and you had to live under fascism, I think you would have a right as an individual, as a community, and as a nation to say, these people do not represent us and we refuse to live under them. So that's always stuck with me, and that's always how I describe the situation on the ground. We're just going to wrap it up here. It's a pity now the connection hasn't been great and that we haven't been able to see each other during the conversation. But it struck me very much that if this war was set out to balkanize Russia, it's actually ended up balkanizing Ukraine, and that the losers in all this are the Ukrainian Russian speaking Orthodox Christians and the Ukrainian Catholic Christians, and the 1 million plus that have died in this war to suit foreign imperialist machinations within the region. So we're just going to conclude. Is there anything you'd like to say just to wrap things up to people who are listening about maybe places they could go to find more information about what's happening on the ground, or periodicals that people could read, podcasts people could listen to? I heard Patrick Lancaster on Tucker Carlson. It was a podcast. I don't know when it was recorded. Funnily enough, I was listening to it this morning when I got up very early. He's a very brave man, and he has his podcasts on YouTube. But anything you'd like to say, just in conclusion, buddy?
You see, the um, its conclusion, yeah. Uh, um, um, you mentioned that many during many years we know each other, and you visited Donbas, I visited Belfast, and we had an opportunity to see that common people is very friendly to each other. The people want to talk with each other and want to live in peaceful life. And the situation now is just some percent, a little percent of people try to organize the great war.
Hmm.
And that's why the slogan of Karl Marx is very, very important on this day, that the working people is united. Yeah, I don't remember how to say in English. In Russian is "Пролетарии всех стран, соединяйтесь." The working people of all countries is unite. Yes. Uh,
The
so
people united will never be defeated. That's what we say.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I forget. But this is they're very, very important right now, because I understand that the European Union uh, try to push again the countries into the war of Russia, and we need to stop them. And I want to say to people of all nationalities who can hear you that try to do everything to stop the war. Our kids must live in peaceful world. That's all.
No, 100%. But listening to what you were saying there, it's always been the elite. It's the capitalism and it's imperialism that's been at the root of every military conquest, intervention, colonization, First World War, Second World War, the Boer War, Crimea War, pick whatever you want. It's the 1% who want the 99% to fight and die so they can have more money, more power, more prestige, and more influence. And just finally, if you don't mind me saying, you mentioned coming to Belfast, and
Yeah,
I remember very well that when I took you around the peace walls in Belfast that separate the pro-Irish from the pro-British colonisers in Belfast and the partition of Ireland, uh, you said to me, they tell us in Ukraine that they tell us in Ukraine that the EU is the land of milk and honey. And you came to
yeah.
Belfast. What was your impression in the heart of Western
Uh,
Europe?
you see, maybe it is the most impression for me, not just during the trip to Belfast. In general, I think you remember that I was pro-European before the 2014. I would like to live in Ukraine, which is very friendly to European Union. But in Belfast, I was shocked that you see it is. It was something like trap. Yes, they say about the terrible situation somewhere, but they didn't mention that you have fences on your streets, and the the situation is nothing like freedom and something like that. The same situation now in Gaza. You see, all people understand that the Israel is genocide the people of Gaza, but nobody mentioned about it. Everything is okay. This is the I was shocked the situation in Belfast, that it is real. As I mentioned, I remember I told you that during my school time, I heard many things about the situation in Belfast. But you see, it was for me. Uh, you see, I was too young, and I afraid it wasn't very understandable for me. The terrible situation. But when I came to Belfast and you showed me the streets with borders, with fences, I was shocked. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
Yes, Pam.
just yep, just like Serbia and things, when balkanized Yugoslavia. Well, look, time's up, buddy. That's 45 minutes we've been chatting. I could speak to you all night, and maybe hopefully we might do another podcast sometime in the future. It was lovely to reconnect
Okay.
with you, and hopefully I'll either see you soon or you'll see me soon, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Thanks to you also, Fra. Thanks for your uh, trying to support people, to keep people in the reality of our world. They give to people the real situation, the truth. It is very important. So good luck and take care.
Thank you, Andre. Stay safe, comrade.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.